You know, Joseph Stalin said many things and did many bad things. One of the things he's most famous for is saying, it does not matter who votes. It only matters who counts the votes. And our history has been replete with voter fraud, but now it's become very, very meaningful because increasingly our elections are so close. We've become such a polarized country. It is obvious that we're going to have a lot of close elections this fall. Control of the Senate is going to be decided by hair's breadth in state after state. Some new states have just come into play, such as Indiana. So it becomes very, very important to talk about voter fraud and to combat it. The left has already seized on this issue. They spend so much time talking about this and doing stuff on it, it makes me wonder that they know something about what goes on behind the voting curtain that we don't know. As in, what shenanigans are they pulling that are not obvious? And they already have efforts in state after state that are trying to expand the opportunities for voter fraud and lower the threshold for voter integrity. Oregon, sadly, has become their laboratory of anti-democracy. Oregon, which brought us all mail voting. You can't vote at a polling place in Oregon anymore. You have to vote through the mail, which is rife with corruption problems. Oregon has now developed automatic voter registration. The government will take a look at all of its lists and automatically register everyone on them. 2 or 3 times, perhaps. If you're not a citizen, perhaps. It doesn't matter if you're on the list. If you show breath, if you don't show breath, you vote. After all, remember the old saying, no taxation without representation? No representation without respiration. So there are a lot of people trying to fight this. True the Vote is one in Texas. I've done my part. I've written a book called Stealing Elections, and another one called Who's Counting. I'll be speaking on this issue in the main ballroom at 8:30 on Friday morning with Ed Asner. Remember him from the Mary Tyler Moore Show or other programs if you're younger. And I'll also be speaking at 1:30 on the interesting subject of this election, which is the race between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. I call it the evil of 2 lessers. And we can find out what's going to happen with executive power and government abuse. Lastly, here's why it's important that you actually do something on this. Voter fraud is a lot like shoplifting. If you talk to anyone in retail, they will tell you, if you do 3 things, put up cameras in your store, even if you don't have anyone watching them, just put up the camera. Have a security guard, even if he's asleep, have a security guard. And put up a sign that says, we will prosecute shoplifters, even if you don't. If you just do those 3 things, you will cut shoplifting 30 to 40%. Because there's a big difference between an activity that is completely risk-free and illegal. In other words, that people you have a reputation as a shopper, anybody can walk out with anything, and somebody who thinks there might be a 5 or 10% or 15% chance I get caught, and they won't do it. So just talking about it with your neighbors, just talking about it with your political associates, just asking people to pay attention to what's going on at the polls if you're active politically, joining up and getting friends to become poll watchers or poll observers can have an enormous effect. Because the one thing we know, a few votes does make a difference. Look back to 2000, when the state of Florida, by 537 votes, decided who was going to become president.